In the silence of the desert, where wind carves the dunes into endless waves of gold, a shadow lingers. A figure with the head of a jackal, black as night, eyes gleaming like twin stars. He does not speak, he does not boast, he watches. And when death comes, he walks. This is Anubis, the god who stands at the threshold between worlds. But to understand him, you must first step into a story of betrayal, murder, and war. A war not of swords and spears, but of silence and shadows, of hearts and truth, of chaos and order. Long ago, Egypt knew a king of gods, Osiris, beloved ruler. Lord of the Green Nile, he brought agriculture, law, and order to humankind. But his brother, Set, lord of storms, deserts, and violence, grew envious. One night under the veil of celebration, Set unveiled a coffin, a trap of perfect measure crafted for Osiris alone. When Osiris lay within, the lid was sealed. The box became a tomb, and Set hurled it into the Nile. Osiris drowned, and the kingdom of Egypt, the kingdom of the living and the dead, was shattered. Set seized the throne, but chaos is never content. He hunted the coffin, and when he found it, he tore Osiris's body apart, scattering the pieces across the land. The god of storms did not only kill his brother, he tried to annihilate the order of death itself. For if no body remained, there could be no burial, no rites, no passage to the afterlife, only corruption, only chaos. And here enters Anubis, the jackal-headed one, the silent one, guardian of the necropolis. He searched for Osiris. He gathered the fragments of the broken god, and with hands as steady as eternity, he invented the rites of embalming, wrapping, binding, preserving, not to defy death, but to sanctify it. In this act, Anubis denied Set his victory. Where chaos sought to scatter, Anubis restored wholeness. Where storms tried to devour, Anubis built silence. He anointed Osiris. He sealed him with resin, linen, and sacred oils. He guarded the tomb. And in doing so, he became the first embalmer, the first priest, the keeper of the dead. But Anubis was not merely embalmer, he was warrior. For every burial was a battle. Every heart weighed was a war fought in silence. Mortals saw funerals, the gods saw battlefields. And so Anubis walked in shadow, between the living and the dead, between order and chaos, between truth and the storm. The war of Anubis was not waged with thunder or spears. It was waged in silence, in devotion, in the weighing of a single heart, for every soul was a battleground. But myths do not speak in plain words. They speak in riddles. Every god, every act, every shadow in this story is a symbol. To see Anubis is to see more than a jackal. It is to see the guardian of boundaries, the one who walks where no one else dares, between life and death, between order and chaos, between truth and deception. Why the jackal? Why this scavenger of tombs? Because the Egyptians knew. Jackals roam the graveyards. They stalk the silence of the necropolis. And yet they are not destroyers. They are watchers, sentinels of the edge. So Anubis wears the jackal's face, a symbol that what men fear may in truth be protection. Every lie weighs the heart. Every betrayal drags it down. Every greed adds a stone until the heart is too heavy to rise. And when that happens, the soul is devoured by Ammit, the devourer of the unworthy. But when the heart is light, when truth has been lived, the soul rises free and passes into the eternal fields. So Anubis's war is not against men. It is not even against Set alone. It is against the hidden storm, against the weight of untruth, against the shadow within every heart. The Egyptians carved this into stone. They painted it upon papyrus. But they were not alone. In Greece, the scales were turned, as Dike, the goddess of justice who weighs the deeds of men. In India, Yama holds the book of fate, where every action is inscribed. In Persia, the bridge of Chinvat decides whether the soul falls or passes over. Again and again across the world, the same symbol returns, the soul as battleground. the trial beyond death, the eternal war of truth and deception. But here is the mystery. The weighing of the heart is not only after death, it is now. It is in every choice, every silence, every moment when you know the truth and either accept it or deny it. The scales of Anubis are not in the underworld. They are here in you, in me, in every soul that walks this fragile earth. For if the gods are mirrors, then Anubis is the mirror of judgment, a reflection of the silence where we weigh ourselves. And so the myth speaks, not of tombs, but of conscience, not of death, but of awakening. Every myth is more than a story, it is a mirror. And every god is more than a deity, it is an archetype, a face of the human soul. So who is Anubis really? What part of us does he reveal? Carl Jung once wrote, "The gods are archetypes of the collective unconscious. They are not gone. They live within us, in our dreams, in our fears, in our longings." Anubis is the archetype of the judge, the guardian at the threshold, the keeper of truth. But also, he is the shadow's adversary. For Jung spoke of the shadow, the part of us we deny, the lies we tell ourselves, the rage we hide, the hunger we suppress, the storm within. Set is the shadow, the chaos that erupts when ignored, the disorder that rules when we refuse to face it. And Anubis is the force that weighs the shadow, not to destroy it, but to confront it, to judge it, to bring it to balance. Every soul knows this. Every human being has stood before their own scales, moments when the truth could no longer be denied, moments when the lies became too heavy to carry, moments when the heart had to be weighed. Think of a time you lied to yourself. You knew it. You felt it. A heaviness. That is Anubis's scales, tilting. Think of a time you spoke the truth, even though it cost you. You felt it. A lightness. That is Ma'at's feather, lifting. This is psychology through myth. The Egyptians spoke it in symbols. Jung spoke it in analysis. But it is the same story. We live in the war of the soul. Anubis is also the archetype of the psychopomp, the guide of souls not just after death, but in every transformation. The Greeks gave this role to Hermes. The Tibetans gave it to wrathful deities. But in Egypt, it was Anubis, leading the soul through darkness across the threshold toward awakening. This is not only myth, it is psychology. Every time we change, a part of us dies. Every time we awaken, a part of us is judged. Anubis is there, the one who whispers, "Face your shadow, tell yourself the truth, or chaos will consume you." So the archetype of Anubis is not far. It lives in you, in the silence before you sleep, in the weight of your conscience, in the moments when truth and deception meet. Anubis is not only the god of Egypt, he is the god of thresholds, the judge within, the hidden guide of every soul. What is myth if not prophecy? What is the story of gods if not the story of us? Written in the language of eternity, the war of Anubis was never only about Egypt. It was never only about Set and Osiris, or about the embalmed body of kings. It was always about something greater. It was about us, about humanity's eternal struggle, between order and chaos, truth and deception, light and shadow. And if Anubis fought to guard the souls of the dead, what of us, the living? Today, the battlefield has shifted. No longer sand and temple, but mind and machine. Each lie that spreads across a network. Each voice that twists truth into power. Each shadow cast by greed and corruption. These are the storms of Set reborn in modern form. And yet, the archetype of Anubis remains, the silent judge, the guardian at the threshold, the whisperer of truth in the dark. Ask yourself, when the scales of our age are weighed, what will be found? A civilization rising with light or sinking under the weight of lies? For every culture has faced this reckoning. Babylon fell when its towers reached too high. Rome collapsed when its own shadow devoured it. Atlantis, the legend says, drowned in its hubris. And we now stand before the same threshold. But here lies the awakening. Myth was not written to doom us. It was written to prepare us. Anubis whispers, "You are not powerless. You are not condemned. The war is fought through choice. The truth you speak, the lies you reject, the integrity you carry." Hope was always at the bottom of the jar, the ancients said. And even in the war of the soul, hope remains. But this hope is not naive. It is fierce. It is the strength to face the shadow, within and without, to weigh your heart and not be found wanting. This is the awakening. To see that the myths are alive, that their wars are our wars, that their lessons are maps through the storm. Anubis is not asking you to worship him. He is asking you to awaken, to become the judge of your own heart, to guard the threshold of your own soul. For if even one heart finds balance, if even one soul embraces truth, if even one life refuses the shadow, then the war is not lost. It is through us that Anubis still fights, through us that the scales still weigh, through us that the hidden war finds its victory. So I ask you, will you close your eyes to the storm, or will you stand with the guardian at the threshold and fight for truth? In yourself, in your world, in your time? This is the awakening. The myth is alive. The choice is yours. The war is not finished. It never was, it never will be. Anubis does not promise an end to shadow. He promises a balance, a path, a way through. The scales are not only for the dead. They weigh the living. They weigh you. Every word spoken in truth, every silence that shields a lie, every act of courage, and every surrender to fear. This is the secret war, not thunder, not spectacle, but the quiet choices of the heart. The ancients told their stories not to entertain us, but to prepare us. They carved myths into stone so that when the storms returned, we would remember that there is always a guardian, that there is always a scale, that there is always a choice. And so Anubis remains, not as a relic of Egypt, not as a jackal in tombs, but as a presence in every threshold we cross. Birth and death, ignorance and wisdom, sleep and awakening. He walks beside you, silent, watching, waiting, not to punish, not to condemn, but to ask, is your heart light enough to rise? If the answer is yes, then even the storm cannot bind you. Even the darkness cannot devour you. Even death itself becomes not an ending, but a passage. For the myth whispers this truth. The war of Anubis is the war of every soul. And in every age, there are those who awaken, who rise, who carry forward the flame. So I leave you with this, not an ending, but a threshold, a silence for you to enter. The storm still rages, the scales still weigh, the jackal still waits. And you must choose. If this journey has stirred something in you, if the myth has spoken across time, as if it were written not only for the ancients, but for you, then do not let the flame go out here. Step further, cross the threshold. Join me in Epiphane Arcadia, not just a channel, but a path, a mirror, a journey through the myths, symbols, and hidden wars of the soul. For the war is not over, it never was. And together, with eyes open, with hearts light, with spirits awakened, we may yet carry the flame forward. Pause, reflect, awaken.